it's very humid, and you're being told, carry this toolbox, go and look at this contactor somewhere. And at that time, I realized, you know what? I remember a gentleman telling me, you young lady, what are you doing in engineering? Just do HR, be in an air-conditioned room. You don't have to suffer through this. Why are you putting yourself through this? And in those moments, you feel discouraged, but you push on. And I remember I got some allowance at that time. I got an allowance and I paid a course at Centurion Systems, and I learned programmable logic controllers. So that moved me from carrying the toolbox to PLCs. I don't know if you understand how big of a change that is. That your mind now becomes more valuable than the brute strength that you have. And this is what we're talking about when we say the revolution of industries. It stops being how strong you are, like how strong you are in terms of muscles, to can you think through solutions. And I did programmable logic controllers and supervisory control and data acquisition SCADA systems. And final year, I got called in for, I think, Dorcas, we were just discussing earlier. I got called in and I did an interview, but unfortunately I was told you can't proceed with that program that you had set up. It was the Coca-Cola program, and I was given an opportunity. That again, you have to be adaptable. I said, I'll take the opportunity. I was given an opportunity to be a trainer for SCADA systems and as well to do technical sales. And as you can imagine, my disappointment was I'm not going to go into this exciting program by Centurion, but I made an effort, and I said to myself, this is a stepping stone. And my mother told me, you're saying they're offering you how much? And you want to stay at home and do what? Can you go and learn something? Don't just sit at home and wait for the day that you'll be given that big job that you expect. And through this journey, I got a lot of mentorship, because you'd find engineers coming for training and they would tell you something about the industry. You'd network with other people coming for training, and it opened doors for me, to be honest. I got to see so many industries. I got to experience different kinds of machines while working with Centurion. And these networks proved very, very valuable in my time. And this is how I got these mentors that I'm talking about. And I remember it was in one of my meetings with an engineer at East African Cables.
Yes.
And I was there to pitch him. I pitched him, you guys have old machinery. You guys were started in 1966. You must have equipment that's very old. You must upgrade your PLCs. And he told me, you got, by the way, he's called Engineer Kanene. He told me, you got, so you just apply for a sales role here. And I was like, you have openings. Yeah, just send your CV to this email address. They hadn't published openings. Like, it was just an ongoing process where they would look for people and they would nurture them. And I got my other mentor. He's called Dr. Gatito. He's the commercial manager. So now I had moved away from the technical, and now I was going to account management. And I used to describe myself as someone who would interpret the geeky technology to the business side of things. So, and it became easier for me because I had had all these interactions with the engineers at Centurion when we were learning. It became easier because I was able to understand the technology behind it and express it in ways that made economic sense. I was able to develop proposals that made economic sense to the people I was pitching to. And after 1 year as a key account manager, I applied for the quality assurance manager role at East African Cable. you can imagine, I wasn't applying as the quality assurance manager, really. I was applying for the deputy of. And my other mentor is called Mr. Paul Migai, also a mechanical engineer. He told me, why aren't you applying for the bigger role? Why don't you believe in yourself? And I did. I applied and I got this chance.
Yeah.
It was a big, big transition because whatever I had learned about the technology, about the interactions, came into play because quality assurance is not just about the process efficiency or the machinery efficiency. It's
Yeah.
about creating systems that will foster collaboration within the organization, as well
Mm.
as drive innovation. So in this space, I was able to launch Fundipora with the team. We're able to create new cables, new types of cables, submersible cables, solar cables. And you can't do it alone. You need to have a team. And so in this quality assurance space, we were able to create an environment where you are merging process improvement with compliance and help in energy management, quality auditing. And I've always been passionate about that. So let me come back because that has taken me
Yeah.
way back. Let me come back to
Which is good.
yeah.
Yeah,
Let me
and I
come.
like that because one of the things I just wanted to say is,
Yeah.
you just made it sound like, I just went here and I did this. Was there a challenge? Because I've interacted and I've worked, and unfortunately I'm in HR. So I've interacted and worked with engineers, and one of the challenges I've noticed is one needs to have continuous learning, one needs to be quick and fast to understand how the industry is changing. Otherwise, you can't even have a conversation with a senior engineer because they'll be like, which system do you use? And the minute you just mention something like SCADA, then they'll ask you, oh, okay. Or you mention PLC, and they'll ask you which PLC. Or so there's this part. One of the difficult things I would say is, how do you make sure that you sorry, I was muting. I muted you also. Let me mute that part. The child has decided. Oh, yeah. So, one of the things that I discovered is engineers have a notion of, if you're not aware of what is like critical as the best option in terms of a solution offering, you may not necessarily be able to move around. And I like the fact that you mentioned you had your first mentor who was at this par level, and then you had another mentor who was at a higher level. So are you able to walk us through some of the challenges that you had that, like across the board, any engineer would have to navigate? And one of them you mentioned was about the big paycheck. And I think that one I would say anyone who has done any technical course, that's a problem that is always marinating somewhere in someone's head when they go for their first interview or second interview. And especially, and this is unfortunate, when somebody has a first class honors, because you go up in arms and say, I am here I am the solution. So you should pay me what is commensurate to the other person, maybe who is either called an engineer, especially if you're a registered engineer, not just a graduate. Yeah. So what challenges did you come across, and how were you able to navigate? And for the audience, please feel free to use the chat box or raise your hand for any questions that you would have to our speaker, Winnie. Over to you, Winnie.
Wow. I hope I'll be able to answer that because along the way, I didn't have the right answers to that question. And just to bring back the conversation also back to Industry 4.0 and AI. Unlike the previous revolutions where you'd find mechanization of systems, this Industry 4.0 and AI means we have to learn, adapt, and optimize ourselves. So the engineer who is thinking that I have all the knowledge, I have all the papers, the industry really is transitioning. If it's about predictive analytics for preventive maintenance of equipment, there is AI for that. Your HR will not recognize the many papers. There's a software for that. If it is in terms of root cause analysis, now there's AI for that. So I had to understand internally that this is a continuous process. You do not stop. Just because you've earned that degree doesn't mean that's the end of it. And I remember the teacher I'm telling you about, the physics teacher, I remember she told us, you know what, we might meet in university because I'm continuing my studies. And that stuck with me because at that time she seemed very old. I'm guessing she was maybe 40, 50. I don't know, but she seemed very old at that time. But she was still going back to learn. And that's the challenge as engineers. It's not the same maybe with other careers, which I will not speak about, but in engineering, you don't stop learning. If you're talking about automation, technology keeps moving on. If yesterday you knew how to automate a software or a machine that was packing milk, tomorrow that has changed. Tomorrow, the requirement is I want to automate my home. I want my AC to be on 10 minutes before I come in. And this requires fuzzy logic, moving to AI. And it's a continuous process. You can never get to a point and say, you know what, I know everything. And that's the beauty about engineering. It's about adapting. And this industry 4.0 is going to expose us who feel that we have had enough of learning, because it means that you have to realize that AI is coming in and it's going to do the work that all the knowledge, a lot of the knowledge has been hidden in the past. Like some engineers in the past would tell you, you go get another tool and I'll fix this. And later you come in, oh yeah, just clean up the tools and let's go back to the workshop. That was the leverage. But now, where's your leverage? The leverage is in how you adapt, how you learn, and how you utilize this technology. And I want to speak briefly about some of the women I've seen. Like, for instance, in this AI space, there's a woman, I think I'd written her name, Timnit Gebru. She's a scientist in AI, and rather than just looking at the technical side of it, she's found out that AI can have biases, and so she's challenging these biases, and she's launched, I think it's an organization that tackles this. And this is going to be a big thing in future, where risk management of organizations using AI to avoid biases, because they can land them in legal problems. So we are looking at this transition as a call to action to adapt. Similarly, in my industry, tomorrow I might wake up and my organization has put in it's called an EQMS, an electronic quality management system. What's my role there? And this is why I am very proud, very proud of saying that sometimes it's good not to know. It's good not to have all those papers. If you're not there, for the audience, if you're still not there, there's so many opportunities right now to learn about all these things. There are, I don't know, I want to talk about like Roblox. There's you know about Roblox. There are people who are
Through
there.
my daughter. But I've discovered, so and I like how you have jumped into the next question I was about to ask about leveraging AI for growth, which is really critical. So one of the things, the little things I've learned about Roblox from my daughter is the fact that the way the program evolves, like it's one of those that I think 101%, it's not about to get extinct because they have quite a number of servers. They are able to recreate and have users be part of the creators of the program in a way that it's more challenging. So when you think about the way of work, it actually means that there's no way I'm going to just go and say my degree is what I'm going to live for. That is the end of studying, that I mean, I am at IEK, I'm a registered engineer. That would not be the end of studying. If anything, it challenges you to recreate solutions for the modern time and the area you're in so that you're able to adapt easily. But go ahead,
Yeah,
please. Yeah.
but that makes sense. So I want you to like just pause for a minute and look at the power AI has there. You have learned your PLCs. In your head, you know you can create a factory. Now there's this Roblox that has the platform, and you can test out this theory. You can test it out, and there are people who I think are doing that. I can't remember the name, but you can test it out. You can use it to even train people on how to manufacture something. So I use for us as women, it's becoming an end. Like the sky is the limit right now. You can actually try this out, create a whole factory simulation, use AI to Google how, or what are they calling it? Use ChatGPT, create business proposal, and create a whole factory for yourself within Roblox, for instance. But you need the basics. I don't want to dismiss the basics. You need the basics. You need the first principles of engineering, and the technology is going to evolve, but we need to evolve with it, but we need to have the background. I might have forgotten the question, but
No,
it's
so you are actually you've covered it well, because it was
yeah.
more about how do you leverage on using AI for growth. And I like how you have just given a simple simulation on, based on the skill sets that you already have, how can you properly utilize it even beyond the workspace? Because sometimes we limit ourselves in thinking that our capabilities are only within, for instance, just within machinery, that we are not able to do the transferable skills. But let me ask, the role of data analytics when it comes to automation and smart decisions. Some of the I'm just putting our whole country at spot. Some of the challenges that we tend to have is huge or a lot of downtime when it comes to even things as power. And having worked in the civil and STEAM industry, I know there's a lot of complexities that bring to some of these challenges. But when you think about growth into improving of skill, are we able to utilize all the data that we can collect to actually come up with solution offerings? Because I know one of the things Centurion system does is they support innovators or people who are coming up with ideologies from a certain level of stage. Have you seen that there is an opportunity for people to research in order to build up a solution, and now through data mining, then you're able to come into play and actually give a solution to an industry?
Okay. And I don't want to complicate it. There's so much data around us, and I want to talk about like some of the things that we do on a daily basis. If you're working in manufacturing, you're looking at defects on a daily basis. You're looking at, for instance, in my industry, maybe you have the wrong lay length, or you have a short in a cable, okay? I won't go into details, but you have several types of defects within your manufacturing space. And you've been collecting all this data. This data has been there, has been in your HMI, it has been in your PLC, but we've not really been using it. So what will happen, and what is happening, is we are learning together with the AI, we're learning how to catalog our current data, and make it into useful information. For instance, every month I'll do, or every week I'll do a Pareto of analysis of what are the major defects within my manufacturing setup. And I'll focus on the three within the Pareto diagram. I'll focus on the first three, and I'll create projects based on these defects. And how that will work is you will still utilize AI. For instance, I will look up resources. Like right now with ChatGPT 4.0, you can look up what are the sources I can cite for a certain type of defects. Has there been research on this? And it's now more available. What did the teams that have previously researched on this, what have they proposed? How have they worked it out? And then you come back to your own process, and you create a solution for it, and you start reducing the defects. It's an enabler. It's not a replacement of your capacity to think and to rationalize. So you're guiding it in terms of categorization. You're guiding it in terms of how you're going to get the sources of information and how to apply this information within your own setup. So it's been very useful. AI has been very useful for especially for me in terms of quality management. And it's going to continue to be more useful in terms of how we're going to apply it. And we are going to see more businesses coming up, businesses coming up that are going to support these types of processes within the manufacturing space.
Okay, so thank you for that. I think one of the things that I would say is critical is just then thinking beyond where you are and seeing how you can leverage and build up on it. Let me ask, we've done the data analytics and just trying to understand the whole bit on how we can come up with solutions. But we are at a point where we find ourselves asking, how can we ensure some of these changes we are bringing are sustainable? How can we ensure that even as we're using tech in some of this industry, that we are able to look back and say, you know, our carbon footprint is reasonable? Is there something you can contribute to this? Because I know right now a lot of organizations are looking at sustainability, and also it's becoming a critical area where even as engineers are giving solution, that should be a path that is thought of. So are you able to share more on that? And then I would like to open the floor after she responds to that to anyone who would have a question, either on career growth or in the specific topic of Industry 4.0. The floor is open for you to be able to ask your question.
Okay, so as I understood it, we're looking at how this will interact with sustainability. Traditional methods, sustainability has been there. As industries, we've tried as much as possible to be sustainable, minimize waste, uh, use water responsibly, and it's been ongoing. So the changes that will be there is this will be more real-time data, will be easier to track. It will be easier, and once you're able to get real-time data and track it more efficiently, you're able to reduce it better. And this will also have an impact on how we report. There are now legislations that are necessitating that organizations must report their carbon emissions. And it's becoming a bigger and bigger industry. And we are going to see industries looking to solutions for how do I utilize the scrap that I'm generating? These are opportunities. How do I reduce, reuse? How will I manage whatever it is I'm putting out into the environment? And how do I even change technology completely? Like, how do I do a 180 turn? Maybe if I'm using this
Yeah.
plastic, how do I change it up? And the open access of this technology, nature of technology, where you have information flowing more freely, you'll find solutions being transferred more easily. You'll find people working better in better collaboration. You'll find resources being more available to do this. And for me, I am in no way scared of this revolution, or as people have been putting it, that this is going to replace. There are going to be numerous opportunities, and especially now that we are looking at a space where it's like an open curtain, it's an open door. It's everyone. It's like the way if you looked at the revolutions in the past, the industrial revolutions in the
Yeah.
past, it was like when you stopped using a djembe and got a tractor. It's that kind of, and I'm
Huge
excited.
difference.
Yeah, it's a huge difference, and I'm excited about this. And if anyone has been to Centurion, I remember we worked with a team where we did an energy management simulation toolkit, and we did it by, asking Mitsubishi, asking Siemens, how do you do this? How do you connect this? And it was so enlightening. But now, can you imagine all this information is now available? But now we just need to get the right tools. We need to know where we're going, and I believe AI-driven solutions will create better smart manufacturing, and will also enhance sustainability and improve efficiency, and also optimize the entire supply chain that we're looking
Okay.
at. Thank you.
So thank you. Thank you for that. I have put her profile for you to be able to see how you can connect with her. But what I love about this discussion is two things. One, you have broken to us that you finished university and you actually got into the world and embraced what was there rather than focusing on, I would say, the generic journey that we have known one should take after graduation. Um, One of the things I've also had is the adaptability that you have brought in, looking at what is available, whether it's a sales job or what. Technical roles tend to actually require, experts who are in that area or in that field to be able to demonstrate it and explain best. And then finally, into how you found yourself footing into quality management. One of the aspects that is a major takeaway for me is uh, do not stop just because you didn't get the first salary that you wanted. What you need to do is work hard and build up on that skill that you have to match up to what the industry needs are. Without that, then the two cannot marry together, and therefore the two would always have to be on a collision, because either one is behind and is not fully updated, and the needs that are there require either an upskill on the skill. And I think that's why nowadays people would say, an undergraduate would be more of a foundation to what the world awaits you to do. And then now you start adapting into either becoming a generalist, because I feel you started being a generalist before becoming a specialist. And therefore that gave you a bigger scope into what needed to be done. You understood the industry concepts in terms of a bigger scale. And therefore, even when you're now focusing on a particular area, it's not that you're not aware of the rest, but they have contributed to where you are. So I'd like to open the floor. Stephanie, Rebecca, Angela, anyone who would have any question that they would want to put out here for Winnie, please feel free, whether it is a career or what. Yes. Anyone who has anything? Feel free to unmute. Samuel, you can ask your question. I can see you're unmuted. The one who is a Zoom, yes, you can ask your question.
Um, Hi, can you hear me,
Yes,
Dorcas?
we can hear you.
Oh, perfect. My name is Miriam Sawe. First of all, Winnie, thank you so much for that wonderful interaction we've had with you. It's always a pleasure listening to you. Oh, for your information, we worked with Winnie. All these things she's saying, I can attest to them. And for me, I just want to put across right now. I'm also building myself on industry 4.0, and I think there is just a lot to learn. And that bit of being adaptable and just being up to date with the latest technology is what will help us in the long run, because you realize the market keeps changing, the dynamics keep changing every day. It's not like it's the olden days when if you had a skill, then that was enough. Right now, we just need to, keep up with the pace, and by the end of the day, it will reward us. I didn't have a question per se, just to appreciate Winnie for that wonderful interaction, and I hope all of you also benefited the way I did. Thank you, Winnie.
Thank you, Miriam. We should catch up soon.
Good.
We
Yeah.
should, we should,
Yeah, she
yeah.
also works at Centurion.
Oh, yeah. I worked with Centurion, yeah. And yeah, we should catch up anyway. Let's meet behind the curtain, behind the what? Behind the scene.
And uh,
Okay, thank you, guys.
thank you. So we have a question from Marianne, and the question is, did you feel intimidated? I think that's what you wanted to say, or feel like an imposter for taking a non-traditional role?
Oh
Yeah.
dear. Oh yes, and every day yes, Marianne, every day yes. But this is where the mentors come into play, and this is where reading a lot of books also comes into play, and practicing positive self-talk. In terms of, have you ever been in a meeting and you that meeting you said, "Aki sitaji, I will not embarrass myself. Sitaji Aibisha, I'll just keep quiet." But then they go on and they continue on, and the idea that you had, it's the one they land on. So believe in yourself, because if you don't ask it, if you don't say it, it remains it remains in your head. So keep the imposter syndrome, especially in women, for women in engineering, is definitely there. And if you're experiencing it, it's not, you're not alone, but you need to have tangible evidence. We call it objective evidence. Consistently upgrade your skills, get certifications, read a lot. If you're facing a problem, a book is a good source of information.
Thank you for that, and I totally agree with you. And it's really important to know how to harness it on a daily basis. And that's a great feedback, because I feel I've met people who are very good in their skill, but one of the biggest challenges is confidence. So once you work on that aspect, it just picks out very easily. I've seen another question from Angela. Mine is a comment. This has been such a wonderful insight. So many valuable takeaways. Thank you very much, Angela Mboro. One other thing I must ask Queenie is, and I'll ask because you are now not in Kenya, but also have taken up a role that is outside Kenya. How was it? Was it something you felt that, well, it's time I do this because I feel I need to do the growth? Or was it one of those things that happened and you are like, this is a great opportunity that came, and nevertheless, I would really want to take it up. So what led the way?
Um, for my current role, if you've seen my LinkedIn profile, I love to write. I've always loved writing on technical. That's how I learn. So I keep writing, and I was approached by the HR, Navana. I hope if one day she's listening. Navana approached me on Messenger and told me, "Hey, would you like to apply for this role?" And I was like, it's Nexans. If it's Nexans, definitely. It's like a big company. It's really a big company. And she told me, yeah, I would love to have your papers. And that's how I got the opportunity. At first, actually, I thought it was a scam. I even tell her, I was like waiting for the time you tell me, put this money into this and blocked.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, she did approach me, and we got to speaking. I got to understand it's Qatar, and at
Yeah.
first you have no idea where you're going, but I had to put my documents in order. It's called attestation. I had to ensure that I have the right contract. So I have gotten people messaging me and asking me, "Hey, can you just confirm for me if this?" Yeah, you have to have the right contract, and it has to be legitimate. And I landed here without my son. I have a 4-year-old son. It is very hard to leave you. Yeah. And that's been the transition. But hey, can I tell you about AI in that space?
Yes.
I I got to use AI as a personal therapist during this
What?
transition.
Are you serious? No, are
Yeah,
you serious? That's
I'm very
interesting.
serious. That's very, yeah, because it's a big transition. You're coming into a new place, you're alone. The only time
Yeah.
you talk, remember, the only time you're talking is when you're in the factory or you're talking to hotel staff or cab
Mhm.
drivers.
Oh,
So
wow.
it became like I would give it stories about my day, and it started like learning my personality and even tracking my moods. And it got me to, yeah, it got me into the right headspace. And
Mhm.
I was adjusting with the culture dynamics, like someone has asked, or workplace dynamics. And it was really insightful. And yeah, it's good. It's right now it's good. I'm learning a lot. Learning a lot, especially on leadership and
Yeah.
on the company has a different process called medium voltage for medium voltage, it's called
Mhm.
CVP. So I'm learning a lot on that as well.
Okay. So what I'm taking away from this one bit is share your knowledge,
Yeah.
because the more you share, the more it reaches people, and there is someone who's watching. Because now actually you're the second Kenyan. Okay, well, I know there are quite a number out there, but the second Kenyan I know who has been sharing content and has gotten a role outside the country only based on information being shared on LinkedIn. And one of the things I'll tell you 100%, I am a huge fanatic of LinkedIn. If you're not using it well, and it's again something I've noticed from a HR perspective, a lot of technical people at their starting level, they don't have a lot of posts, or they don't have a well-tailored LinkedIn. And sometimes I know the reason is we interact with people more than just getting time to sit down and create this whole thing. And sometimes people say, well, I've already sorted the factory issues and the machinery issue. I don't need to come and tell the world. But sometimes your journey and your storytelling
It's
connects
your
to a
mind map.
solution somebody. Yes, it is a mind
It's your
map. You're right.
mind map. Like it's how you're interpreting what you've read. And let me tell
Yeah.
you, if you're not that I'm not an extrovert, but if you're extroverted, create even videos. Like, see, this is how you'd find it funny. This is how I wire my
Yeah.
contactor. You'd find like yes, the day before yesterday, I was speaking to another engineer from Holland, and I found out they use solid wire, not the stranded wire. So it's something that's very different. I never thought about it. for up to 6 millimeters squared. So the more you share, the more you get to learn. And this was not the first offer I got on LinkedIn, like approaching you, hey, can you, it's something that happens, and it's a good tactic. I won't say any God, it's God, yes, but I won't give you the Kenyan, it's God manze, and then keep quiet. Share, as I had explained in my previous life, when I was at Centurion, I talked to an engineer. Share, and that's how they tell you there's an opening here, or there's no opening here.
But that's good. Good to know. I think that's one of the difficult and sometimes they take short. The floor is still open for any question or comment, and we'll be able to have the same shared. Yeah. So without further ado, I just want to say thank you very much. Winnie, it has been a pleasure. I feel we need to have a second version of it. Just need to tailor it in a different way, because I feel a lot of people need to know the journey of resilience, which you still have, but just for people to know how to get up to where you are. It took time and it took a lot of molding. From our end, from Centurion Systems, we want to say a huge thank you for all who attended. One of the things, and Winnie has attested to the same, is we offer courses that are applicable to the industry. And for those who have been with us or have worked with us can attest to the same. We are here. We will be able to answer your inquiries. I would appreciate if anyone is looking to get to know a little bit more about Centurion Systems, please feel free to reach out to us. And I would encourage you to even reach out to us, whether it is on LinkedIn. I'm just putting for you the details just in case you are not aware about us. But the most critical thing is reach out, see where we can come and help you. We do have assessments that we do first to enable you to know where you are and know how you can elevate yourself. But most importantly, we deal with industries who come in to support all those who carry or take any of our courses in regards to any of the short courses that might be 5-day or 3-day courses. But the most important thing is we have practical kits that you're able to do, demonstrate, and be able to apply that skill in the industry you're in. From my end, I just want to say thank you. Thank you very much for joining us. It is important to know that at the end of the day, we're bringing you these speakers to help you in the career space you're in and the journey for you to get to where you want to be. And therefore, if you see one of our speakers and you'd want them to be your mentor, you'd want to be mentored by them, you can always reach out to us and we'll see how we can support you. I can see a Fanta saying from your LinkedIn profile, I'm a bit curious to know why you decided to take masters in environmental and biosystem engineering. Winnie. So we had an hour with her, but Fantas, we will reach out and we will answer that in our coming session. I must excuse Winnie because her family is waiting. As you have heard, she's not in the same space as we're in. So we had agreed an hour so that she can take care of her family. From our end to yours, we want to say thank you. But she decided to take that path, but you can always take advantage of LinkedIn. Reach out, ask that question. That is the other way of connecting with people. Ask questions and you will get the answers you're looking for. But from our end, we want to say thank you. I fantastically want to say thank you for your question, as much as we would not be able to handle it now.
Thank you for
most welcome. So thank you and have a good evening. We will be sharing the recording on the YouTube channel and you'd be able to refer back to it. And for any support that you require, please reach out to us either on LinkedIn or write to us info@centurionsystemslimited.co.com, and you'll be able to reach us. From our end, if you are in our community WhatsApp group, we'll be posting more details there. Let's have the conversation going on there and have a good evening ahead. Thank you and take care.